Heather, tell us, how did this great big world adventure come to be?
10 years in the making. My husband and I had this dream years and years and years ago, long before we thought we were thinking about children. And then about 4 years ago, he had an opportunity through work to bank 20% of his pay every year towards a prepaid sabbatical in year 5. And this is year 5. So with a year off, knowing that he would continue to get his salary, we realized that it was the best year to do it.
What was the reaction when you told your boys?
It took them a while. My boys are only 8 and 6, so it took them a while to realize exactly what we were talking about. They knew we were going to take a big trip, and they understood what that was all about. They've traveled with me since they were born. But this one took a bit of adjusting. So it's only, I'd say, in the last 4 to 6 weeks where they've really begun to understand that, wait a minute, we're leaving everything and we're going on an adventure. I mean, the great thing about it has been that to kids at that age, home is where your parents are. So they're completely okay with the fact that we're going away.
What are you and your husband looking forward to the most?
I know for me, and we've talked about this, my husband and I, part of it is just the opportunity, and I recognize what a rare opportunity it is to spend this much time together as a family. My kids aren't yet teenagers. They don't hate me. They don't mind spending time with me. In fact, they kind of crave it. And I'm not silly enough to think that that's going to last forever. I know there will be some bumpy years ahead for them and for us. And I'm really treasuring the fact that I get to spend that much time with them at this point in their lives.
Was there a moment in time when your husband came home and said, "It's official, here's the date"? Was there like a celebration, or how did that unfold?
No, I think there was a big gulp, like, really, we're doing this, oh my God. Which was okay. I mean, we've been celebrating all the way along, and it's bittersweet in some moments. Like, right now I'm spending some time with my parents before we go, and with every meal you realize this is the last time mom's cooking you that, or the last time the kids will hang out with grandpa doing that, and for a while. And, right now my husband is in the driveway selling our car. So, even saying goodbye to some of our possessions has been a little tough.
Well, and that was going to be my next question. Like, how does one go about planning such a thing?
Yeah. I'm sure there are better ways to do it than I did. But I did do it. So what we did is we rented out our house and we put our stuff in storage. The house had to go unfurnished, which wasn't the original plan, but the tenants needed it unfurnished. So it required us to pack up our entire house and store it. So that took up a lot of time when we could have been spent sort of, packing our own bags to go away. And we've had to get rid of a few things. So it didn't make any sense to have cars depreciating over a year. And so those have been sold. We ruled out winter completely. I'm anti-winter. And we decided that we would, not have things shipped to us all over the world, but instead focus on warm countries, warm continents where we could pack accordingly. So that was the number one thing. And then what we did is probably about 10 years ago, my husband and I did a 4-week trip to Southeast Asia, where we basically traveled with like the kind of backpack that your child takes to school, size backpack, not a big, lugging thing, worth of clothes for 4 weeks. And we were fine. People in these countries all, wear clothes and wash them and find ways of getting things done with where they are. And so we just took that approach that we were living in these countries, and we'd make do. If we needed to get something, we would, and it worked out fine. So for this trip, we took the approach that we're traveling for 2 weeks. So we'll have 2 weeks worth of clothes for everybody. And then, of course, there's the technology and the gadgets and all of that. Mm-hmm. But we'll each have one bag, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, the worst that could happen is that we need to buy another bag. Luckily, we can do that. Or need to buy new clothes, and we can do that if need be. But hopefully, we learn to live with less stuff.
Wow. Now, what are you looking forward to the most?
For me, it's about spending time with the family. I'm country-wise. Mm-hmm. I'm most interested, I think, in it changes all the time. One of the stops we're making is in Colombia. and in South America. And a lot of people have said to me, family travel to Colombia. I don't know if that's a good idea, what have you. And I love the idea of dispelling some of those ideas that there are places in the world. Of course, there are places in the world that are unsafe, and we won't do anything that is, we know to be unsafe. But there are also places in the world that were unsafe a long time ago and are getting better. And there are pockets that you can visit. So for me, as a writer, as a journalist, I'm interested in visiting some of the places that might be a little bit off the beaten track. And Colombia is one of those for me.
How did you go about, telling your sons or preparing them for some of the different things that they're going to see? Have you looked at books? Like, what's the preparation been like?
You know what? I didn't, because what I found are the kids actually will surprise you. We took our sons on a trip, I guess it was about 3 years ago now, to Peru. And we were shocked at how little the poverty or the difference in appearance affected them. They were out there, and all they cared about were that the little boys they were playing with liked to play soccer too. They didn't notice that those little boys, in a lot of cases, were wearing tattered clothing or didn't have shoes, or lived in mud houses. All they knew was that they shared a passion for a sport that my boys also really liked. And I found that actually taught me a lot about what I want them to get out of these trips. And that's that it's not always about what's different. Sometimes it's better to focus on what's the same. And I love that they taught me that. So I haven't prepared them too much in terms of saying, it's going to be very different here and it's going to be difficult. I find that kids, especially at that age, can really sort of ride what's happening and will let you know if there's something they're uncomfortable with or need explanation about.
Now, there's definitely going to be a lot of planes, trains, and automobiles over the next year, right? Of all different kinds, shapes, and sizes. Is there anything that you've done on that level to prepare them? And is there anything on that level that makes you a bit nervous?
No, not really. I mean, we'll see as this goes along and as I'm actually in it. There might be moments when I feel that. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest thing that we've done is, as I said, my kids have been traveling with me. Literally, I started writing a travel column for the Toronto Star when I was pregnant with my oldest. So they've literally traveled with me their entire lives. And I think that's the best preparation that I could give them for a trip like this, because I always say, if you're going to be on a plane, you want my two kids sitting behind you. They know how to behave on a plane. They know what to do at customs. They know how to get through immigration, those sorts of things. And so I'm not particularly nervous about traveling with them because I've always traveled with them. Mm-hmm. And I know they're comfortable travelers.
And you don't have to pack like a whole separate backpack of things to keep them entertained, I take it.
Well, this is the wonder of this age, right? If I had taken them at, 3, which I have taken them 3, it's a whole different kettle of fish, right? Mm-hmm. You've got to worry about, whether you're finishing toilet training or, do you have snacks and wipes and games. Now, both because they've had experience on the plane, so they know how to operate the movie system, or they know, what how to open their book and read it, or whatever they're going to do on the plane. It's a little different. They can carry their own bag. To me, it's the golden age. They can do a lot more for themselves, but they still want to be with you.
Are you going to have them keep a journal or anything?
Absolutely. So we'll be blogging the whole way on globetrottingmama.com, and then they'll have a section on that site where they'll be able to do video blogs and keep in contact, particularly with friends back home and family and their school.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Heather?
No, just that we're all really excited to be going on this trip, and we're just, I think it's going to be a fabulous experience, and I'm really excited that we get to share it with a lot of other families and parents, because whether they're thinking of doing a trip of this nature or this long, I think a lot of the things we'll experience will be relatable for even a short trip, and hopefully we can help each other that way.
One last question, a quick tip that you can share with parents about what you've learned up to this point.
Don't do it yourself. Do not try to do it yourself. I am the mom in the family. I'm usually the one who plans our trips, and I think that's true in a lot of families. And I've realized that a trip of this nature requires you to let go a little and to relinquish some of the control, as difficult as that may be. Mm-hmm. And I found that to be really rewarding.